Welcome to the 25th Hour podcast, where business owners share their strategies on how they stay in control of their day so that they can work less but still accomplish more. I'm your host, Lisa Quilling-Malice. Today's guest is Brittney Castro. She's the founder and CEO of Financially Wise Incorporated, an LA-based financial planning and education firm whose mission it is to teach individuals and couples the art of managing their finances in a thoughtful and proactive way. What's great about this episode with Brittney is that her mission of being thoughtful and proactive with the finances is also the way she approaches her time management strategies in a very thoughtful and proactive way. I invite you to listen in, as I think you'll be surprised at some of the strategies that she uses to make sure that she is living a full life, but in a way that is in alignment with who she is and what she values. Welcome, Brittney. I am super excited that you're here with me today. And let's just jump right in. What is it that you do to keep all the balls in the air, to keep control of your day and control of your time? Like, what are some of the strategies that you use?
Yeah, Lisa. So I think for me, I've always really been good at time management. I don't know how I started it, but I remember when I was even in like junior high or high school, I was obsessed with calendars, the paper calendars, and I loved scheduling and writing my agenda in there. And I would always do colors for specific activities that I had. And now as an adult, as a businesswoman, I still use calendars, but now it's just online through Google Calendar. And I always say, like, do you want to see a cool calendar? Because mine is still color coordinated, like for certain activities. And I think for me, that's always just been part of how I operate and how I do things. And also I read a lot of books when I was in college about productivity and time management and leadership, and all these individuals who were quote unquote successful would talk about, if you want to accomplish things, just make time for it, schedule it. Like if you schedule it, you're more likely to do it. And so I think that skill set of just scheduling and having a calendar has allowed me to be really diligent with my time. And I would say my secret recipe, though, is actually meditation. So I'm a big meditator. And I think with meditation, it really expands me to this idea that I can be beyond time. So even though I have things that I do, I never feel like that pressure or like restriction of time that I think a lot of people kind of default to. Because as full as I like to live, I never want to be that person that's like, I'm so busy. And then like kind of use it like, I'm so busy and I'm so stressed because I'm so busy. Like when people say that to me, I just think it's such a turnoff. Like, well, if you're so busy with things that you don't enjoy, then figure it out to make it different. Or if you're busy with things you actually do enjoy, then like say it in a way that you enjoy it. Like,
right.
Right. So I always say like, yeah, I live a full life. So when people say, oh, you're so busy, I say, I live a full life. Yes. And I think for me, it's just I think I'm the one who has quote unquote like that control or mastery of my time, and how I choose to use my time is up to me. So I just tend to like really focus on activities that will, like meditation, that will expand me, kind of keep me more like above all the responsibilities that we have as an adult living in the modern world, and not get so future about like all these things that I need to tackle. It's like I'd really just say, oh, well, here's what I'm doing today. And if I do it, I feel good. And then tomorrow, like I know I'm a productive person. I know I'll get things done. So there's no need to add like pressure for myself. And that I think just has come through experience and time.
Right. I love how you said a full life. Mm-hmm. Like so many people use that I'm so busy as their badge of honor. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, let me out busy you. Yeah. And I just want to say, are you happy?
Yeah.
Like, could we use a different adjective to describe what's going on in your day? Is there anything else going on? And it's that, oh, I'm so busy. No, I'm busier than you, whatever. So that be able to say it's a full life.
Isn't
That
it
just
cool?
makes my
It
heart
really
sing.
is. It actually, with like these word choices, they make a difference. Like when I started saying I have a full life, one, I was like, oh yeah, I do have a full life, and I created it, and I get to do the things that I want to do. And it's not like every day I'm in love with the activities. Like, we have things that we don't want to do, but we have to do as an adult. But I never think of it like I'm so busy and I don't have time for you because I'm so busy. Like to me, that's just like, I don't know. I don't want to be around those type of people.
Absolutely. And like I will share with my clients, you can say, I choose not to spend my time in that way
Mm-hmm.
because then it's your choice.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not a victim to time.
Yeah.
You are you. So, it's like, or I say to my husband, no, you don't say we can't afford it. You say we choose not to spend our money in that way.
Exactly.
I'm like, because we totally could if we chose to,
Yeah.
but we're choosing not to. So I love what you're saying about word choice, which brings me back to what you're saying about meditation. How did you get started in your meditation journey? This is one of the things that many of my clients say, oh, it sounds great in theory, but I could never sit still for that long.
I know.
So
Yeah, it's really also the word choice. Misconceptions really prevent us from doing a lot of things. And I think people have this idea that if you meditate, you're free of thought or sitting. But really, what I always tell individuals is meditation brings awareness and more consciousness to your life. And the thoughts will be there. That's our mind. Our mind's job is to think. But the idea is if you sit, even if you just start your practice with 5 minutes a day, you're building the muscle to be able to learn how to not follow every thought or not have to, I always think of these thoughts like little leaves, right? And the thoughts constantly happen. Most of them are the same thoughts we've had for the last 30 days. But I don't need to follow every thought and get lost in it. So with meditation, I try to get to that place above the thought. So there's more space or more of that gap. And that's ultimately, I've learned, the benefit is when I get to that space, then it kind of brings that gap or space in my days and my life where I can just simply enjoy or not feel like I gotta go. I'm more present. I'm not always present. I'm not like perfect, but it allows me to get out of the mind that's constantly like A to B, do, and just breathe and relax. And I'm telling you, I'm a very ambitious, driven person. So when I started the practice 7 or 8 years ago, I just met a woman, and it was at a time in my life where I was trying to establish a lot of new friends. I had just ended a relationship. Most of my friends were part of this group. And I was like, you know what? I'm creating a whole new life. I just started my business. I need new friends. And this woman was introduced to me as a client, actually. And I just liked her energy. She was very busy, professional woman, but she wasn't rushed. She had a soothing energy to her. And I began talking to her about workshops or books I was reading. She goes, oh, you should come on a meditation retreat with me. I think you'd really like it. And I go, oh yeah, that sounds pretty good. But I don't know. I have a lot going on. This is what I would say. No, I have a lot going on. I can't do it. She's like, it's just one night. It's 2 days, 24 hours. You can do it. And she told me about this one cycle. It was a March. And I was like, oh, no, there's no way I can make that happen. No, I have so much going on. I just started a business. You don't understand. I can't go on a meditation retreat. And she goes, okay, your loss. And I said, huh. The way she said it was just so straight, your loss. Then the next cycle came. It was June. She told me again, you got to come on this retreat. I was like, no, same excuse. I'm using all my money. I need all my time for this business. She goes, I'm coming over to pick up the check and get the form, and you're going on this retreat. And I was so whoa, no one has ever done something like that. So adamant about me going that it was actually so attractive in a way. Wow, this girl is so confident that I should go on this meditation retreat. I better go. And when I went, it was it. Like, I just knew this was like what I was looking for to add to my life, as like a community, like-minded people, spirituality, meditation, how to work on myself from a more conscious awareness level. And since then, I've just learned more and more about meditation and how to meditate and develop my practice. It didn't come overnight. Like, when I first started meditating daily, I think it was with a guided phone app for 10 minutes. And, then I would increase it to 20 minutes. And then now I try to sit every morning. Most mornings I sit for like 40 minutes. Because really with meditation, what I always remind people too, like, it takes a minute just to like settle yourself. And especially when you're starting, you're building the muscle and the habit, just to like get out of that restless mind and just settle. And most people kind of give up right at the edge of that cliff when they're going to start getting the benefits, because it's not comfortable. Like, when you're learning, sometimes it's not comfortable to just sit. Like, you think of all the things you got to do, you want to get up and do them, or emotions, and you don't want to feel those emotions. But if you do, and you like go through them and process, then you get to this side where then the benefits start to come. And that is what really kept me coming back and like developing more and more of my meditation practice, was the benefits were so huge. Like, didn't have like anxiety or the stress or overwhelm, of my life. And, now after just 7 or 8 years of doing it, it's given me so much more just beauty and depth. And I always like to tell people it adds more richness and meaning to my life, because I think when we're more present to what's happening, you really see there's so many beautiful things around us. But if we're too busy, we're going to miss it.
Right. I agree. And as you're sharing your story about like the situations that happened to put that woman in your life at that time, it reminds me of my meditation journey. And it is definitely a journey. And I am definitely at the beginning of it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I was at a fundraiser and I bought you put your tickets in the Chinese raffle, and a friend of mine won free sessions for yoga. And it turned out that the yoga studio was right by my house and not by hers. And she says, "Here, take these." And I remember thinking, I have no interest in yoga. I have no interest in any of that stuff, but it's rude to turn it down.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, "Okay, thanks." And then it sat for months. And then my friend was like, "Did you ever go?" And so I thought, okay, well, now she gave me something. I at least make one thing. So here we are 3 years later, religiously use the same woman, have started increasing meditation. Like, that was something she would encourage me strongly to do at the beginning. And I was always like, I can't sit still that long.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Here's how you get started. Here's how you go." And I have different timed downloads on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been able to, I know that one of the ways that it's easiest for me to get into that place that you were talking about is to use her yoga nidras. Like, if I listen to her voice, I know what's coming. Like, that gets me there.
Yeah.
And so I have yet to develop a practice where I can get into that place on my own. But with her voice, I'm in. So I love, because to this day, had I not gotten those free gift certificates from someone who checked back in on me, I don't know that I would have went.
Yeah, it's really sweet. And I have a teacher now. I'm a spiritual teacher, and that's how I've learned too. Like, I don't think I would be able to sit or do my meditation practice without some sort of guide or teacher. I think that's an important part of a meditation journey, or whatever it is, like, to find someone to help guide you that you can really learn from, because it is a learning.
Right. It's a practice. There's a reason they say it's a practice.
Yeah, that's what I always tell people. It's a reason why we say meditation practice, because you keep practicing. It's like exercise or anything else that we do. You just keep doing it, and some days is better than others. Some meditations are deeper than others, but you do it.
Right. Right. So you shared calendar, which I love, because Here's mine.
Yay.
Still have the paper calendar, have the online calendar, as you know, because you jumped on, or your assistant jumped on to book for this. And so I do have the online calendar. My clients book online, but there's something about putting pencil to paper that is just amazing. So you shared about the calendar, you shared about meditation. What else? What are some of the other things that you do to keep yourself in control?
Gratitude. I tend to focus a lot on gratitude. I've always been that way, but I feel like even now I'll do, like, I just started like a new intention, just focus on what's good or the blessings, because through meditation and through visualizing what I want or being very clear in what I want, I get it. And I know that to be true with my business, with my life, with different things I've had to go through that weren't easy, like challenging. And when I feel grateful for all the things, like I think I was just talking about this with someone earlier, in life, you can focus on the negative or like the lack, what, like even with a person, like that person is blah, 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 right? Or you can focus on their beauty, like what is good about them, and connect from that place that is good in you to their best in them and see them differently. And that's a practice too. Like I was just away. This is a real life example. I was just away for 2 days in Santa Barbara with someone special. And I thought, oh, it was a wonderful trip. We had a great time and so many good things. And then right when I came home, like the trip, like kind of settled back, I thought of something negative like that happened, and I could see how quickly the mind wants to go and focus on something negative to make me suffer and rob me from all the good things that had just happened. And it's so quick. I call it our ego mind. We have an ego, we have a mind that will want to take away the blessings because it's all around us. And I thought, you know what? Nope, I'm not falling for it. And I was good. I didn't fall for it because I saw it so quickly, like what was happening. And I thought, no, that is so lame. Why would I focus on something negative after all these beautiful things just happened? I'm not going to fall for the trap. Like it's a trap. And I got out of it so quickly and I thought, oh, that's cool. But that's a practice too, to be able to choose. And every moment, I think we have a choice. Do we focus on the positive or negative, the blessings and opportunities or scarcity and fear, love or hate? And no matter what you're dealing with, to not, like you said it earlier, not be the victim and constantly come back to know you have a choice. One, it gives you more power and control. And I think that kind of tenacity or whatever you want to call it is so important because life is not easy. There's many things I've gone through that are not pretty. Like, we all have whatever it might be, medical, relationship, financial. But you can't let that stuff just like take you down, and I think how easy it is to go down with life sometimes, but to constantly go for like, no, I'm going to keep going for something better or bigger or higher and not let this take away my happiness. So yeah, gratitude is very important.
One of the practices I started maybe a year ago was a gratitude journal.
Yeah.
And recently I had someone tweak it a little bit when we were in conversation. And what she does is she writes down what she's grateful for, but then she writes down after that, what did she do to allow that to happen? And so at first I was like, this is so weird. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what you mean. And she's like, okay, well, so you're grateful for a beautiful sunset. She's like, but had you not stopped to appreciate the sunset, you would not have seen it.
Correct.
So that was your piece in it.
I love it. I'm a big, I do that too. Like, for example, I opened up to receive this beautiful weekend trip and maybe didn't do some old patterns that I could have chosen to do. And also a month ago, I wanted this specific trip and here it was happening for me. And so I had a lot of parts in it too. Like I love that because we do we have to give ourselves credit. Like a lot of people say, oh, Brittney, you have a great energy. You have this wealth energy. And I say, yeah, I've worked for it. Do you know, like actually it didn't come just like this, and so it feels good to say I deserve it because I've worked to have this. Or, one of my friends was telling me the other day, oh, it just seems like, you want something and you make it happen. And I say, yes, true. I do want things. I get very clear meditation. I get clarity and then I take action. But it's not like I'm just sitting around on my couch waiting for something to just manifest in my life. No, you haven't seen like years of work on myself, on my skills, on my communication, all the things that I need to do to just be a business owner. I mean, you know this. So I always acknowledge myself. Yes, it's very true. I am very fortunate. I'm very blessed. And I've also worked for it. And that's nice to acknowledge too, because also I think it gives that person, the receiving person, whoever's telling you this, the framework to think like, oh, it's possible for them too. Like they can have it too. If this is something they really want, when they look at whatever it is I have, or I see them and I want what they have, I think, well, I can have it too. If I start to do the work to open up, to believe it, to do the actions necessary to become that person, to receive it. So it's possible for all of us.
Right. I was just in a conference, a virtual conference, obviously, last week, and the keynote was Glennon Doyle.
I don't know.
So she wrote Untamed.
Oh.
I think you will appreciate that book. She was an amazing keynote. And one of the things that she said is, she goes, it drives me crazy and she said it way more eloquently than this. But she said, basically, it drives me crazy when people say, oh my gosh, look at everything you've accomplished. You're so lucky.
Yeah, the lucky.
She's like, lucky? Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. This is 25 years of sweat and tears and hard work and dedication and focus. This is not luck.
Yeah.
So I wrote
that book down because I actually need a new book to read.
Yeah, I jotted it down to pop in the show notes. She was inspiring. So if you... she's also recently did a podcast with Brené Brown. If you listen to Brené Brown's, so hers is towards the beginning, like the ones in March. Okay. And she's just so authentic and so very grounded, and has a very feminist view on. And I don't know that I am or am not a feminist. Like it's not a label that I necessarily subscribe to or don't subscribe to. Right. But she definitely has a own your power vibe. But a lot of some of the things that you're saying very much parallels her message.
I love that. Yeah, I want to read that book. Yeah, the lucky word is another one, like busy. When people say, oh, you're so lucky, I'm like, no, come on.
Like you hear about this all the time in the music world. They were an overnight success. Yeah. They're like, yeah, if overnight means 20 years of playing dive bars with 5 people in attendance, yeah, totally was.
Yeah. The luck thing is just like, no, I appreciate what you're saying, but it's actually not luck. I've worked hard, and yes, the opportunities have been able to come, but also it took work to receive and get to the place where I could have these things, Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about your business. What is it that you do?
Yeah. So I like to describe my business now as a financial education company. So, recently partnered with Amy at Rooted Planning Group to offer clients still the private financial planning. So we do fee-only financial planning for individuals to really help them budget, save, invest wisely, purchase assets, have tax strategies, like really that comprehensive view on their money, which, by the way, everybody needs. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. Right. You need to find somebody who is a CFP, fee-only, to help you on your money journey. It's really... Now, I think this year has proven now more than ever before, we all need constant financial education and adjustments, refinements as life happens. You constantly have to update. So that's a big part. And then the education piece is I do a lot of partnerships with companies to create content. So whether that's video content about financial topics or financial programs or media interviews to kind of like broadcast financial literacy from a CFP expert who's been in the business, helped thousands of people, but in like a relatable way. So I had the vision, by the way, when I first started this company like now almost 8 years ago, to be the next Susie Orman. That was very clear to me.
Okay.
I wasn't just going to be the financial planner. I was like, cool, I could do financial planning. That's always been something for 15 years I've done. And I like that. You get a lot of experience. You learn so much by working with people. But I always had this vision to have like more than that. Like I wanted to teach the next generation or be one of those next generation financial planners to talk about money in a relatable way. Say, we can work virtually. You know, I started my company virtual 8 years ago. So work from home this year was like no big thing, but that at the time was a big deal. Leveraging social media to broadcast your brand or message in a meaningful way. So I'm very fortunate to be able to work with cool companies who really get it, who want that type of spokesperson or financial expert to help them on their content, because now what we all know, it's not enough for a company to be like, here's what you need to do. Invest in your 401k. Like, yeah, duh, we all know that. But they want the relatable person saying, hey, yeah, I get it. I've been there too. I've helped thousands of people like you. You're not alone. Here's how you do it. If you can't fully fund your 401k, start with this. Like, just talk to them in a normal way. And I learned that early on, that I had this skill set to talk about money just in a normal way. I think it's normal. Like, I was never one of these people who was like, oh, how dare you, Lisa? You're a horrible person because you didn't fund your 401k or you have debt. How dare you? Like, to me, I always thought, who needs all that? Everybody knows what they need to do. That's not, and they already kind of feel bad if they're not doing it. So instead of like that punishment type of scolding financial person, I want to be the one who's like relatable, encouraging, compassionate, sympathetic. And that was just actually really more in alignment with who I am. So it took me an unlearning of the initial things I learned when I first started in this industry to like, I was like really trying to be like everyone else, like play the part, be a cold, grinding financial advisor, just making my productivity numbers for the month. And I didn't feel good. Like, I was sick a lot. So it just took me like finding my own natural rhythm with finance, which is the subject I happen to be involved in, and then believing in the vision. And as you know, going through many, many, many challenges.
Right. And absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, when you share your story, I think of, okay, you're the person who helps them get from where they are to where they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing that as their partner, not as their dictator, not as that, you're, hey, look, you are where you are, and we cannot change where you were yesterday or the day before that or 5 years before that or those decisions. But we can take what we're at now and make the best decisions with the information we have at the time moving forward.
Correct. Yeah. And like now I think Marie Kondo is pretty popular on Netflix. So I would always kind of say I'm like the Marie Kondo of finance. Like, let's keep it simple. Let's keep it like, more of a zen. Like, let's not overcomplicate, and let's find a way to make you happier. I've seen so many people who have what we would define as financial success, maybe all the millions they could ever need, and they don't feel happy. Like, a lot of them are stressed and overwhelmed and have anxiety because they've never worked through the other side of money, which is the emotions, the spiritual part, the, holistic part of money, which is, if you want to be rich, you got to feel rich now, no matter what you have. And more money doesn't mean more happiness. Yes, we all need a certain amount of money to have a life and have more choices, but over a certain threshold, we've seen the studies, 75,000, I think it's what it is nationwide, doesn't mean more happiness. So now more than ever, no matter where you're starting from, really wealthy, poverty, defining what it is that you want and learning how to make it happen or overcome where you came from to be to where you want to be is so incredibly important. So financial literacy is so important for everybody.
Right. Absolutely. And I love how your business is evolving. Like you said, I had this big vision. I need to figure out how to get from here to there. And the Amy you refer to is Amy Irvine. And for those of you watching this, in the show notes, we'll have the episode that she was on, the 25th hour with us, and also a link to Amy's podcast, as she has some really, really great content also.
Yeah.
Now, share with me, who's your favorite type of companies to work with? Do you have a favorite type?
Yeah, I do have a favorite type. So right now I work with Mint, which is a budgeting app.
Mm-hmm.
They're really great to work with. Altruist, which is a fintech company here in Los Angeles. I've worked with Chase in the past. I just worked with the Lakers and their credit union, which was really cool to create some financial literacy content for them. So personally, I really like working with well-established companies or brands that have a PR agency, because then from my business strategic mind point of view, I get to be on calls with not only the company, but the PR team and work. Like, I'm really good at marketing. So I kind of like play this specific niche where I know how to market and communicate, but then I know the financial compliance, what needs to be said or what's not appropriate to say, and can like help them execute on their marketing to get whatever results they're looking for. So I loved being able to work with companies who are obviously established so they can have this PR company. I get to show up as expert, as more the spokesperson, say, here's what I think, be on these top level calls, but then also just execute, within my talents, which is to be like doing the videos or writing the blogs or creating the content for their website. So that's really exciting for me.
I love all of that. It just makes my heart sing.
Yeah.
Talk about the 25th hour. So as you have figured out ways to be more effective and efficient and more productive and to not feel stressed, what do you do with that quote unquote extra time, like that 25th hour in your day? How do you like to spend it?
I personally love to spend the 25th hour with having fun, like with my friends. A lot of my social media is very business. I never really put personal stuff on there. Like every now and then I'll show like my trips, or I love to dance. I love to create things in life. But I love just like having those times where you're with family, your friends, your loved ones, just like laughing, joking around, dancing. Like I love music. I love dancing. So if there's some sort of like social party element I'm in, like I'm happy. So that personally is what I find to be my happiest 25th hour, is just like enjoying life with people I love most.
That just sounds so fun.
Yeah.
So fun. So on brand with you. Like it feels like, yes, that's exactly what Brittney would tell me right now. Hanging out with friends, having fun and dancing.
Yeah. I grew up with boys. So a lot of it is like, I can joke, like, I love sarcasm. I love humor. I love being able to make, it's fun when you get to a level with your loved ones where you love each other, respect each other, want the best for each other. But then you can also just like make fun of each other. It's so fun. And I think I just have that skill set because I grew up with 3 brothers, always played with the boys. And I just learned how to like, I don't know, just joke around. It's the best.
Yeah. I'm laughing right now because last night I was trying to do something tech related. So of course I called a kid, because who else would you call? So I called one of my nephews who's in college, and I was like, I'm trying to do, and he's like, oh, Aunt Lisa, pretty soon I'm just going to start calling you grandma. Oh, I was like, do I love him or do I not love him?
I know.
Like, right? And it's like, I do love him if he can fix my tech problem. I do not love him if I can't.
It's good. The kids keep us real. Loved ones keep us real. Like one time someone said, oh, don't get too big where you forget about us. I'm like, do you know me? Do you know the people around me? They would like, if I'm with my friends, like no one thinks I'm cool. Like, it's just like humble, like, you know what I mean? Keep you grounded, connected to realness. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping it real.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it real with Brittney Castro. I feel like that's a whole
Maybe I should start a podcast.
right. It's a whole new thing. Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing your time today. You were a joy to have on. So many great ideas. I love your perspective on how to make the most of your time through meditation. Like that is not something that has ever been brought up as a strategy yet in the long, which I say tongue-in-cheek, history of the show, since we're still at the beginning stages. But thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for making the time for us today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Lisa. I'm so happy you have this podcast. You're doing this work, bringing more resources to people, especially during this time. It's really special. So thank you.
Absolutely.